There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
Ooh, what's up and welcome into episode number 88 of the Program Guys podcast. My name is Mason Prince, joined with you as always by Ryan Tyson, Mark Hall, Matt Gann, Patrick Kurtzberger. Today is Thursday, September 14th. Be sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Trying to hit 2,000 subscribers by the time OU plays Texas in just a couple weeks.
Okay, bye Texas.
Costs you $0, my people. $0 to subscribe to the program. Helps us out more than you know. You can follow us on Twitter at Program Guys with the Z, Instagram Program Guys with the Z, our Facebook page Program Guys Podcast, TikTok Program Guys, programguys.com for some fire written content. You can oh, I'm missing something. Oh no, I spaced. What happened? Spotify.
You can always go buy a t-shirt. The link is going to be in our description.
That's right
here. That link is only open though until the 21st. So as of recording, that's 8 days. As of the first possible moment you're listening to this, you have 1 week. Go get your hands on a Program Guys t-shirt. Our homies over at the fan stop are hanging out or are hooking us up with this, and we're pretty grateful for that. But we want to see as many guys and gals in a Program Guys t-shirt as we possibly can. The link's in the bio, the description, not bio. Go to the description. Mason, take over.
Yeah, guys, check that out. Shirts are fire, multiple different colors. They all look good. They all look great. And yeah, Oklahoma Sooners 2-0. Make the trip.
2-0, baby.
Make the trip up I-35 over to I-44 to Tulsa, Oklahoma, the 918, taking on the Tulsa Golden Hurricane this weekend. It's a 2:30 p.m. kick Central Time in Tulsa, Oklahoma at H.A. Chapman Stadium. We'll cover that game in its entirety, preview that game in its entirety coming up in this show, as well as some circling the WaGanns for the homies. And yeah, boys, how we doing? Matt, we'll start with you, brother. How you living?
I'm feeling great. OU's 2-0. I know I couldn't make the post-game pod, so I want to give my quick thoughts on OU's victory in SMU because I was at the game watching.
No.
Defensively speaking, man, OU is on fire. Danny Stutzman is a machine, and so is Billy Bowman. The defense looked absolutely incredible. Again, did they get enough sacks? No, but they created a lot of pressure and stopped a pretty good SMU offense. Offensively, Jeff Lebby's play calling has to get better. The offense is just too good to only score 28 points and really look lackluster, and the running game needs to get going, which I hope will get a good start this weekend against Tulsa, especially Sawchuk and Barnes.
Love it. Patrick wasn't at the post-game pod either. Pat, how you doing, brother? Okay, there it is. He's got
technical difficulties.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, overall, I did drop like a 2.5-minute video on my thoughts and my disappointment of that game. There's a lot of people in the comments though. I'd like to address that, saying things like, "Would you have rather we won like 56-24 like we used to, where there's
what
a
a
high-powered
dumb straw
offense?"
man. I'm so tired of that. Go ahead.
I'm tired of it because you know what? I expect this offense to score 56 points against a defense like SMU. I do. So I expected 17 points against us, but 11 is almost there too. I expected both. I'm also sick of people saying we're not showing the entire playbook yet. That's happening across the country with all offenses right now. We didn't score enough. I don't care if we aren't showing the playbook or not. We were not aggressive enough on offense. We were not moving forward enough. We were not passing forward enough on offense. Anyways, that's my thoughts. But hoping for a 500-yard game from Dylan Gabriel this week against Tulsa.
No, Patrick, you're onto the right things here. There is no look. We're not gonna do this. Oh, wasn't it better when we were winning 58-48? No, that was bad too. Excellence is the standard. Anything less is not good enough. Everything matters. Every offensive play matters. Every defensive play matters. There's no reason why that game wasn't 49-11. It should have been. It could have been. Opportunities are there. And to the homies that are saying we're hiding the playbook. Like, we don't really know, what we're showing because there's better opponents coming down the pike. Jaden Gibson isn't someone you're hiding yet. We don't know what we have there. Nick Anderson isn't something we're hiding yet. We don't know what we have there. Gavin Freeman dropping a ball is not something you're oh, hey, run out there and drop this ball on this play because we're hiding you. No, guys, we're making mistakes play calling and execution wise. That's what it is. And if you don't want to hear that called out, find another podcast because we're going to call it like it is.
Agreed.
Bingo. Ryan, anything to add, brother?
No, that was great. I think Pat, you got a fresh cut. You look good, man.
I did. Thank you.
Yeah.
Big weekend.
Looking great.
Nice.
I don't think Patrick is gonna be happy unless we win every game 50-10. So I don't want you to be disappointed this year, but we're not gonna win every game 50-10.
Well, that's a good point too, because Washington beat Tulsa last weekend 43-10. So if we win 28-11 against Tulsa again, we know our offense isn't as good.
Washington has a much better offense than we do 2 weeks into the season, at least, from what we've seen.
Maybe.
But we can talk about that in the preview if we want to.
Let's just go ahead.
Baby.
Let's just go ahead and jump into it. You know what I mean? So Oklahoma, number 19 in the country now?
Yeah, we dropped the spot. Yeah.
Yep. Dropped a
19.
spot. So Oklahoma 19, TU unranked. TU is 1-1 on the season thus far. Yep. They lost last week, as Patrick mentioned, to Washington up in the outskirts of Seattle. I think that's where Washington is. Somewhere up there. TU's an improved team. Brent Venables during his press conference had nothing but good things to say and compliments for that entire TU staff, which includes Dominique Franks, who's there on that coaching staff as well. Go ahead, Mark. Did you want to say something?
Oh, just Dominic Franks, former OUDB and Atlanta Falcons.
That's
DB.
right.
Oh God,
That's right.
It was a big moment for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Curtis Lofton's another one.
Yeah. But to me, looking at this game, and we can dive into the offensive and defensive breakdowns after this, but just kind of an overall thought here. To Patrick's point, you really have to come into this game and really dominate Tulsa. You have to send a message, and Jeff Lebby especially has to send a message that calm down. I know what I'm doing. This team knows what we're doing, and we have the pieces. And he's got to do it quick. They got to jump on Tulsa from the get-go, and they got to get out to an early lead and hold that lead and not go conservative. Be aggressive. That's what I want to see. Put the pedal down and boat race these guys out of their own stadium. Dude, all due respect to Tulsa, they're trying to do a blue out at the stadium. Like, they're trying to blue it out. Everybody, all the fans wearing blue. Guys, I guarantee you at least 75% of the people in that stadium are going to be OU fans.
There's going to be a lot of red in that stadium.
Yes. There are TU season ticket holders I know personally that are going to the game in OU gear.
I love that.
Yeah, dude.
It was not the game to blue out. That's
no,
for sure.
I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to, get your fan support out there and show like, hey, we're here. We're hosting a big game. And I get it. It's great. But the big dogs are here and they run the state. And that's who the people want to see. You know what I mean? Anybody opening thoughts before we dive deeper into this matchup?
I mean, I think you covered it, man. I think we do. We have to dominate this game. We should dominate this game. I think if we don't, that's problematic.
So where I think we are in this microcosm of non-conference play, I think Arkansas State is here. I think SMU is here, and I think TU is right there. I think they're better than Arkansas State. I think they're worse than SMU. So theoretically, yeah, you should beat the tar out of them. You really should. And it shouldn't be that difficult. But I don't know. They made it difficult last week. So we'll see what happens. No one else? Okay, lit. Gotta love it when I leave the boys speechless. Okay, so
you covered it so well, man. I mean, what else do we have to say?
I know.
We're going to dive into details.
I will use this time, though. Comment down below. We read every single one of your comments. Loved reading the comments on the post-game pod. That was so much fun to go back through those.
Haters.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun, though. Shout out to all of our regular commenters, though. We appreciate you guys. We read every single one of them. Try to get involved with you guys as much as we can in the comments to go have a little go back and forth with you as well. So we'll start breaking this game down. Let's go ahead and just start with the offense because Jeff Levy's the one who's been in hot water since Saturday. So let's just get it out of the way. We're not going to dive into it. Jeff Levy read his Art Briles statement. I feel like it's time to move on, right? He said he was sorry and
yep.
And he said it won't happen again.
Let's all move on.
I know. I feel like we have to take him for his word, right?
All good.
No one's bigger than the
Not all
program.
good, but good to move on.
Yeah, good to move on.
We're good to
My
move
phrasing there was almost as bad as Jeff's.
Yeah. Okay. So Jeff Levy has a lot to prove this week in terms of his play calling. Tulsa's defense is not great. We saw them struggle last week against Washington. So we know that this defense is vulnerable for OU's attack. I'm curious with you guys. Is it going to be the Tawi Walker show again? Or do we start to see Gavin Sawchuk and Javonte Barnes start to get some more burn?
So I just wanted to jump in here with one of the most ridiculous statements that I think Levy said in his press conference was like that they're trying to get Sawchuk and Barnes going. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, bro, you call the plays. Like you are the one who needs to get them going. What are we doing here?
You gave him 3 carries. You gave him 3 carries on Saturday.
Why are you saying out loud to the press that we need to get them going when you are the one who gets them going? It doesn't make any sense to me. I just had to start with that because that's one of the most ridiculous statements he said. So I don't know who's going to be with how Walker played last week. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the start. And then hopefully they'll bring in Barnes and Sawchuk more this week than they did last week. But Levy didn't seem to give any more information around other than we're trying to get them involved. That's basically what he said.
I'm of a mind that we're going to see a lot of Tawi Walker early as Oklahoma sort of imposes its will. And then Gavin Sawchuk specifically gets more opportunity, a little bit more burn, because his is the hamstring, right? And they feel like he's about ready to go. But until you're getting contact through people, it's hard to really know. Javonte's a foot. Both of them have time to get right. We really just need them by Texas. Most importantly, we have depth at the position, but I would expect to and love to see them as often as possible throughout the.
Do you think that's really what
offense.
we're doing though? We're really resting them for Texas, guys who have carried a total of 20 combined snaps for OU. I mean, sure, maybe a little more in the Cheez-It Bowl, but is that what we're doing?
I think the whole thing is just, hey, we have 2 guys that are kind of banged up, and behind them are Tawi Walker, who ran for 140 yards last week. Marcus Major, who has shown that he can be a number 1 back when things go right for him. I love that guy sometimes. And a couple freshmen that have at least sparked, right? Yeah. If you lose one of those guys too, then maybe you're forced to make a difficult decision with one of the sophomores. But if you have the bodies and you can make it work, and OU is outpacing opponents 101-11 this year, they're making it work.
Matt, hop in there.
Yeah, I think the distribution of carries will be a little bit more even this week. Tawi Walker had 21 carries for 117, while Marcus Major, Dylan, Gabriel, who both had 8 carries. And like you mentioned earlier, Mason, Javonte, and Gavin only have 3 carries combined. So I think there is going to be a little bit more distribution. I think the execution of the offense will be very similar, hopefully, to Arkansas State, where we get up really nice and early, can bring in a lot of the younger sophomores and freshmen to get a lot more playing time, including Jackson Arnold. But I think 21 carries for Tyree. I think that's going to be a little bit more distributed evenly throughout the running backs and hopefully get Javonte and Gavin a little bit more time in there moving forward.
I'm really glad you mentioned that everybody kind of mentioned the distribution of carries, because really we've seen the same thing in the wide receiver room, right? Distribution of receptions. There hasn't been a guy who's risen above the rest. Andrell Anthony had a really good week last week. And even Jaleel Farouk got in the action as well. So, I mean, I told you guys at the beginning of the year that I thought Andrell was a guy to watch for, but I really feel as though what needs to happen this week with the wide receiver room is if guys are going to if we're going to continue to disperse the receptions, I want to see one guy rise above the rest as like the dude who has like 8 catches, and then the rest have 3 or 4 or something like that before they start rotating other guys in. I really want a guy to emerge, and I want the team to tell me, hey, when stuff starts to go sideways and we're 3rd and 15. This is the guy we're going to throw the ball to. Like, that's kind of what I want to see out of this game. Thoughts on the wide receiver room?
Yeah, to your point, I think Andrell Anthony has proven himself as wide receiver 1 or 2 right now. I mean, Jalil is probably still the favorite to take that on, but we haven't seen it yet. I do want to see more of the other guys get involved. Not really like the number 1. I want to see the 3s and 4s make a lot of catches this week, so I know we have 3s or 4s. Because really, right now, we know we have Andrell Anthony, we know Drake Stoops can catch the ball, and we know Jaleel Farouk is really good at football. So I want to see like that 4th or 5th guy to solidify who's going to get those balls for us as well. Like, who's the 4th option?
I mean, last week alone, look at the distribution. Andrell Anthony had 7 catches. The next one was Jaleel and Tyree both had 2 and 3, and then Marcus Major. So 2 out of the 4 leading receivers were running backs out of the backfield. Now, I know last week was a lot of swing passes out in the flat routes, but that's got to change. Jaleel is just too good. You saw his touchdown making guys miss and scoring. He has to be more involved, but I mean, you've hit the nail on the head with Anthony. He has been the best receiver so far through 2 weeks. So him and Jaleel just need to figure out a distribution pattern through DG and get more balls thrown down the field. I know you guys hit on the post-game pod. There was not enough balls thrown forward, way too many screens and in the flat. They have to get these guys involved. There's too much speed, too much athleticism not to use these guys. And obviously, we didn't see a lot of Nick Anderson or we didn't even see Jacquez Petaway either with Drake Stoops back. So a lot of guys hopefully we're hoping to see back in this Tulsa game and obviously moving forward.
Yeah, they need to play more people. Like we're not throwing it down the field, and that takes away a lot of the wide receiver skill that we have. Like, we've been running the ball, like last week, a lot of runs, a lot of screens, like Gan was saying. And we have to go back to what made the Arkansas State game successful and how we were able to cycle through so many of our wide receivers and so many of our weapons. So, I mean, we just have to take a completely different approach to this game than we did the SMU game. And hopefully Levy's going to do that.
Yeah, you have to impose your will downfield. You can't really let the defense decide what you're going to do on offense, sort of the way that Levy has been pretty open about it since the SMU game. He went in with a more conservative approach than he would have in hindsight. Cool, that's great. Why did you tell us that post-game versus fixing it mid-game? But that's neither here nor there. What we can see and should expect is improvement this week. I think there's no reason why we're not going to see Jaden Gibson on the field and Nick Anderson on the field. I know that they played last week, but you force balls to go to guys like that. That's how you know that they're ready for you to force balls to them later in the season. You got to be able to push the trigger a little bit pull the trigger a little bit. and really give your guys a chance to make a play. He's willing to do it with Andrell Anthony. He seems to be the one who has come in and immediately created a rapport with Dylan Gabriel. But there's talent all over the field, and I don't think we've seen enough to really have settled on the guys that we seemed to settle on last week. Like, it seems like the rotation shortened and without much reason. At least that we see. The coaches see more, right? But there was no reason after seeing week 1 that we didn't see more Gibson, Anderson, etc. in week 2.
I think something else that we're going to need to watch for is the offensive line has been quite solid in my estimation for the first two games of the season thus far. You're going against an inferior opponent in Tulsa. You're going against, in a respectful way, as respectful, I can say, lesser men than what you're expecting. Like, these aren't
way less.
These aren't bodies that you're going to see at Texas. These aren't bodies you're even going to see at Texas Tech even. These are going to be smaller guys, and you really need to bully them. You really do. I saw old highlights from the last time TU played in Norman, and it was Baker's like coming out party or something. And they bullied them from the jump. And I get it. They're two separate teams. There's different rosters, yada, yada, all that. I understand that. But that's what you do to an inferior opponent. You, like Mark said, you impose your will, you bully them. And that's what Bill Beanbo is probably preaching to these guys all week, is that they're going to say, hey, we're going to run the ball, and it's up to us to dictate how much we run it. Because you guys know this. You've heard offensive linemen say this before. Pass blocking sucks. It's not fun to just get hit play after play and pass set. At some point, you want to hit somebody and deliver a blow. And that's what you do when you run the ball. Offensive linemen want to run the ball because they're sick of getting hit. And they won't run the ball if they're not being successful doing it. And it's all dependent on how their offensive line comes out and how bad they want to hit somebody in the mouth. Don't you think, Matt?
I'll give a little bit of pushback. I feel like the offensive line took a little bit of a back step in the game against SMU, gave up some good pressure, got in DG's face quite a bit more, obviously, versus Arkansas State. They had a much better defensive line. Let's be fair, a lot bigger men on that line. And Savion Byrd gave up some really bad tackles.
There was a couple of bad ones there.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if, and we haven't seen the offensive line shift too much from the first 2 games. I wonder if Bill is going to shift it around a little bit into the Tulsa game, because they need to figure it out if they're going to make some pretty good headway on offense moving forward, because you just can't give up pressure like that, especially against better Big 12 defenses.
Saw a good bit of Troy Everett in for Savion Byrd in week 2, actually, but
at that guard position instead of center.
Yeah. Like we discussed a little bit in the preview pods. Go check them out. They're evergreen. But yeah, you got to dominate. That's sort of the thing, right? Is you got to dominate on offense or on run plays and pass plays. It's Tulsa. Like, all the respect in the world to the team and the program that Kevin Wilson is building there, and all of the caveats that come with that. But to Mason's point, these are lesser men. You have a program that you believe should be in Big 12 contention, and Tulsa is in what conference, Patrick?
Yeah.
The American.
Nope.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Totally. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So you should go in. The stand should be full of crimson and cream, and every play should be an OU celebration.
Absolutely. Only thing I have. Go ahead, Ryan.
Patrick, go, sir, please.
I might be wrong here, but I feel like when there's a penalty, I look up and it's someone from the offensive line. Last week we went 9 penalties for 88 yards, while SMU had 2 penalties for 15 yards. We lost the penalty battle. I don't want to see that happen again this week, especially on the offensive line front.
Ryan, round us
that's
out
a
on the
good call
offensive
out.
line.
Yeah, not even. Oh, are we talking about offensive line? Because mine's not.
No,
related
just
to
talk about
offensive
something
line.
different. We're gonna round out the offensive talk
No,
here.
mine's still offense.
And we haven't touched
Jackson,
on Dylan yet, so we can touch on the
yeah,
quarterbacks too as well.
yeah. So Jackson Arnold, I want to talk about this because Brent had his press conference and he basically was asked, like, are you going to redshirt Jackson Arnold? And he was like, no. Why would we do that? We don't have a lot of depth at quarterback and we need him, essentially, which is a shot at Booty and Bevel. But like,
And
I think that if we are intending to not redshirt this guy moving forward and we're like full stop on the Jackson Arnold train, which I believe we are, we have to use him for something different than this Blake Belldozer type situation that we're doing on 3rd and 4th short. Like we have to use him for something different. It is ridiculous. That play call specifically still pisses me off when I think about it from last week. Like all those play calls, that one in particular, it's really annoying that we have this extremely talented quarterback who's our backup, and the only reason you bring him in is so he can grab the ball and run forward like 1 yard. It's ridiculous, and I don't want to see that again. So sure, bring him in and do that one time. I don't care. That's fine. But if you're going to bring him in, use him. I mean, like, let him get some reps. Let him get some like actual like experience being like a college quarterback. I don't know why you would bring him in and use him like that. So like that's, you guys can touch on Dylan more than I'm going to touch on him. But like, that's the thing with the quarterbacks for me is we are stating now we are not redshirting him. So let's use him.
Well, and we talked about it in the postgame pod. Why are you using Jackson Arnold as a gadget quarterback the week after he goes 11 for 11 and looked
So
every bit of the 5-star quarterback that you signed out of Denton High School, out of Denton Guyz? Like, I think it's Levy thinking he's being creative when in fact it's quite the opposite. It's not creative to go out there and just treat it like it's a Belldozer package. Like, with the Belldozer, you were at least shocked when he threw the ball. These teams won't be shocked when Jackson Arnold throws the ball. They know he has the ability to do so. So why don't you throw the ball at some point? Why don't you in that package? Like, I just don't. He's not a gadget quarterback. He's really not. He's not a Tebow jump pass in the SEC championship game. He's not that guy. He's better. And not better than Tim Tebow. He's a more well-rounded quarterback.
We know what you mean.
Yeah,
If you want me to jump on that train, he is better than Tim Tebow.
Okay.
So.
Ooh.
But I agree. I hate this package. Here is
That's
the
a
cleverness
horrible
of
take.
If he's going to be clever about it. Maybe it's OU against Texas. We're down by 7. It's 3rd and 1. He puts Jackson Arnold in. Everyone thinks it's a run, but he throws the ball over the top to Andrew Anthony. Maybe it plays out creatively in the future. I don't see that happening. We need him to just play normal quarterback if he's going to be in the game.
Especially if he's your backup, right? Like if
what if he gets hurt?
If shit hits the fan, we aren't gonna run the freaking whatever they want to call it. I heard somebody say jackhammer. It's so weird. Hate that. We're not calling it that. Run that package.
We're not calling it the Jack offense.
Oh, that's okay. I like that more actually.
I thought we were talking about the Jack offense.
Let's just stop.
He's not going to do that. He's not going to do that when if you have to bring him in the game to be a starting quarterback. So why do that now? Your whole reason about getting these guys in and getting them reps is to prepare them for game-like situations. This isn't preparing Jackson for a game-like situation because you aren't going to do that sort of stuff. Treating him like Braden Willis last year against Texas. It's crazy.
Well, even Dylan had eight carries last week, and 4 of those were designed because they were RPOs. I don't want Dylan Gabriel taking free hits. He was just getting lit up by the SMU defenders. I know sometimes he's got to take what he can get, but too many times they put him in that position when we have 4 running backs that can easily take those hits and take those carries. I don't want to see any more of that. I get the Jackson Arnold package. Eventually, they're going to have him throw it. Fine. Show it to people now, whatever. But they've got to be more careful with Dylan Gabriel running those RPOs and him pulling it and running it himself.
The thing about the Jack offense that they can't say out loud is
Jack offense.
The Jack offense.
No, I was saying the thing they can't say out loud is Jack offense.
No, well, yeah, that's the thing. It's code name.
God, do you think Brandon would ever say that? Like, we're gonna run the Jack offense, ready to go.
No. Maybe Levy sneaks it by him, but I don't think maybe he doesn't get it. But no, here's the problem. They actually are too worried about getting Jackson Arnold ready to play next year or possibly take over this year to redshirt it. That's what the deal is there. He's not getting redshirted because we don't have depth. You didn't have depth last year and you still weren't playing the dudes. Whoever said that was a great point. General Booty, man, it's tough, man, but good NIL deals. And the problem with that is, okay, you want to get him ready. You want to make sure that he's ready. He's been in game situations that has valuable experience with all of that. Very cool. 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 is often not the time to do it. By my count, one of those plays was successful this past game. The other 3 did not go well. And Brian mentioned it in the post game. Everyone knows it's coming at that point because you're only doing it very specifically in these weird situations. And we've been complaining about his situational play calling going back to last season. We have better athletes we can put in positions to get us those yardage or those yards than the 18-year-old who still isn't growing a full mustache. Like, he's not even fully physically developed yet, and they're treating him like Blake Bell or Braden Willis when, I mean, truly the 2-quarterback system has its limitations in general because every play that Jackson Arnold's on the field, Dylan Gabriel doesn't get a snap. And that's it, it's invaluable for both of them. But if you're going to have Jackson out there, he's got to be running the offense. He's got to be doing something. He's got to be watching a defense and reading a defense instead of running a ball on 3rd and 1, jackhammering, jack offensing.
Anyone else on the offense before we move on to the defense?
Throw it down the field. Please.
Yeah.
Please throw it down the field.
Yeah. At least an attempt would be one more than they had last week. You know what I mean?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Be lit. Okay. Let us know down below in the comments what you want to see OU's offense do against TU's defense. Moving on to Oklahoma's defense against Tulsa's offense. I mean, more of the same. You obviously want to see more pressure, right? And we've talked about it to death. I feel like you just get the feeling they're saving stuff, right? It just feels like they aren't dialing up blitzes. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It feels like they're a little reserved and they're playing well. The defense is playing well. I don't want to sound like they're not, but at some point you want to see these guys get aggressive and let them loose, especially these linebackers, right? I mean, there was a few plays in the last game against SMU where you saw Danny and you saw Jaron. Even I saw Kobe McKenzie at one point running free, like they were just unblocked and they sent too many guys and the quarterback was flushed out and he had to figure it out. So I'd love to see more of that. And I obviously would love to see more pressure, but yeah, the turnovers again would be super nice. I'd love to see some interceptions. Feel like there was good opportunities last week that we couldn't quite capitalize on at some points. So it'd be nice to capitalize on those this week.
Yeah, I think for me, I agree with everything you said, Mason. I think pressure is the thing that they played fantastic last week. I don't think we can ask for a lot more if we're being picky and what else do I want? I want more pressure. I want more sacks. But What I'm really like, what I want to see continue more than anything is like the speed of this defense. I was watching a
Wants to see
video, I
Speed
think on
D. I get it.
Twitter. Yeah, because like I was watching a video on Twitter with the offensive coordinator of SMU. I'm forgetting his name, but he mentioned, he was like, well, they're just so fast. He's like, they were so much faster than like we thought they would be. Like 28, meaning Danny, was everywhere on the field. Like I want to continue to see that. And it's funny to me that the thought process around us having in our previous regime Speed D, and now we're not Speed D anymore, but now we're getting talks about how fast we are. And like that's interesting to me, how we are like kind of flipping that coin on the defense. And so I want to continue to see that, and then I want to continue to see that pressure. And do we know if Desan's going to be back this week? Do we have an injury update on him?
I'm sure they asked it in the press conference on Tuesday, but I didn't catch it. I didn't hear. I would assume he's not going to play, but
I'm itching to see him back on the field because I just want to see, the small amount that we saw him in the Arkansas State game was really nice to see. So I do not know his current status on injury wise, but I want to see more of the same mostly. Like we played great last week, and the Tulsa offense is, in my opinion, not near as good as the SMU offense. So I'm expecting to see a domination on the defensive side. And maybe I'm setting my hopes too high, but that's what I'm expecting.
So I'm looking for two things. One, Venables is hopeful of Desan McCullough's return. And that gets into the first thing I want to see is the deployment of the cheetah position this week. Justin Harrington is expected to not play after getting banged up at the end of the game last week. And if Desan is unable to go, does that mean Peyton Bowen steps in? Does that mean Reggie Pearson steps in? Does that mean second on the depth chart, maybe second in our hearts, Samuel Omosigo steps in and gets some real run at the position? There's a lot of moving pieces there, and it introduces problems that we haven't had yet, either last year or, I mean, obviously it's game, 3 this season, that aren't the worst problems to have when you're playing a team like Tulsa, because you get guys on the field, you get guys an opportunity to play games. And that leads me into the second thing. Well, sorry, Peyton Bowen, Reggie Pearson, all those guys, seeing the versatility there. That's what I want to see with the position group, because you have a lot of dudes and to see what they can do. Even if Desan plays or doesn't play, move them around, have some fun with it. That goes into my second thing. Kevin Wilson coached with Brent Venables for 9 seasons on the Oklahoma coaching staff, because that's how Bob Stoops did it back in the day. If you were a guy, you were a guy forever in his program. Point being, he's intimately familiar with how the Brent Venables defense works. And I'll be very interested to see how many tendency breaking sort of plays and moves and schemes we see out of Brent Venables. Are we going to see a lot of like zone blitzes? Are we going to see a lot of, moving secondary guys down, throwing your linebackers or your cheetah deep? How much of that movement along the defense are you going to see that, is a little exotic because Brent's a madman, but breaks some of his normal tendencies because Kevin Wilson is sort of tuned into his brain?
Pat, what do you got?
Yeah, if I had to be a little picky, the cornerbacks I wish were a little tighter at times. So I'm just going to be looking at them to see if they make any improvements.
Well, we did have a backup last week. Backup cornerback come in.
Well,
but
Wilson.
To your point, Pat, and I'll let you jump back in, but I think you're 100% right. I think we were playing a lot of zone too, is what it feels like. And SMU's quarterback was very, very good at finding the holes in that zone. And to your point, you want to see him press a little more. Yeah, I agree. I'd like to see some more man coverage. I think that'd be great. But go ahead.
Yeah, agree with that. And then I thought Kip Lewis and Key Lawrence played awesome last week. I want to see a lot more of that.
That's a battle. That Kip Lewis Jared Kanak battle is something we all need to be keeping an eye on, because
it's
I know
real.
that everyone is very enamored with Jared Kanak, and look, I'd lead the line on that. But Kip Lewis is a wildly instinctive player and just has a nose for the football. Gets there every single time. Knows how to be a linebacker, which is kind of the thing Jaron is still learning, even if his athleticism is off the charts.
I rewatched the game, and God, Key Lawrence, that fumble he
played
just
great.
It was art, dude.
He played so great.
It was just art.
Best game of his OU career?
I think it's
up there for sure.
I think it's close to fair. Matt, what do you got, brother?
Two of the biggest things that OU has improved on so far defensively, the tackling and the rush defense, look a whole lot better. This stat actually kind of blew my mind. So far through 2 games, Oklahoma only has 7 missed tackles. They only had 4 against SMU. Does anyone want to guess how many missed tackles they had through UTEP and Kent State last year?
Isn't it like 38?
It's 33.
Oh my
God,
dude.
So
That
bad.
is a
So
dramatic.
much.
That is a dramatic improvement. The tackling has been by far so much better, and the rush defense only holding SMU to I think about 117, but that was on 34 carries. That's below 4 yards. It's about 3.4, I believe, if I'm doing my math correctly. Tulsa's had 3 running backs that had 10 plus carries, averaging 4 yards a carry per each. So that's really what I want to see continues the rush defense, since they do have a couple guys that can definitely run the rock for Tulsa. That's probably what they're going to do versus having their quarterback throw against our defense. So I want to see the rush defense continue to stop. The tackles continue to be there. And I know Tulsa also has Oklahoma State transfer Braylon Presley. So he's a well-known, played OU before, had 3 catches for 54 yards last week. So I just want to see them tighten up on Presley and the running backs, but they've been much, much improved. I think anyone would be happy with the way OU's defense, especially the front 7 and the tackling, has been so far. Want to see that keep going.
Anyone else on the defense before we get to some predictions?
Just to what Matt said, remember how upset we kind of were early on, because we were not upset, but because we were all losing our minds about Reggie Grimes and how well he played in weeks 1 and 2. But yeah, the tackling still wasn't there, and we were still in these games that were a little weird and tight and funky, and the defense has really tightened it up a little bit in a way that I really, we all wanted to see in year 2 of the BB regime.
For sure. Captains for the game. Oh, sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
No, I just sorry. The only thing that I wanted to mention, not even the defense, I'm kind of to special teams. We didn't give enough credit to the punt team last week. In the post game, they were really great. For the first game, I didn't even know who our punter was, because we only punted 1 time. And then the second game, having to punt so many times because our offense kind of stalled on the field. Both of them did a really great job. I want to continue to see that. And then I want to continue to see Peyton Bowen being aggressive on special teams. I think that was fun. And I think I like us being aggressive on special teams, because that's not something we really had in the past. So just a quick little special teams thing.
Ethan Downs, Trace Ford, Tyler Guyton, Austin Stogner, Gentry Williams are your captains for the Tulsa game. So 5 new captains for the squad this week.
Can you say them again?
Tyler Guyton, Austin Stogner, Trace Ford, Gentry Williams, Ethan Downs. 5.
Gentry Williams, first sophomore to be a captain. Pretty notable.
Wow. Yeah, that is pretty notable. Good for Gentry, man. He's been good. He's had a good
very
start
good
to the
for
year.
Gentry.
Yeah.
Very good for Gentry. And I think he's supposed to be back this week after getting banged up last week. Man, good for Gentry.
Yep. Absolutely.
We need him too. We need depth in that position a little bit right now.
Let us know down below in the comments what you're thinking OU's defense will do against TU's offense. All right, boys, score prediction time. Patrick, I'm going to start with you. You got a score prediction for me. What you're most looking for in the game on Saturday?
I'm going to go 48-10. And what I'm most looking for?
Yep.
Forward offense, passing it forward.
Passing it forward. I like
screen.
that, though.
I don't even want to see a single screen pass.
You're going to get a screen pass. You're going to get a screen pass.
Yeah.
But I like where I absolutely
I like
like
it,
where
though.
your head's at. I like where your head's at. Mark, what you got?
Along the same vein, but I was thinking 52-10. They're going to put points up, but I have been pretty clear about it. I believe that great teams beat up on regular teams and dominate not so good teams. And I think that Saturday is an opportunity to show that we're a great team that can really dominate the lesser competition on the field. We're not going to play to that competition. We're going to take care of them. So 58-10 or 52-10, sorry. And again, just I guess physical domination is what I want to see the most.
Matt Gann.
Somewhere in the same vein, I'm going to go 56-7. I think the defense is going to come out like they've been doing the last couple of weeks against Arkansas State, SMU. So I don't even think they give up double digits. I'm going to go that score, and I'm just going to go rushing offense. I would like to see two guys well over 100 yards. Doesn't matter the combination, but I would like two guys over 100, really get that ground and pound run game moving into Big 12 play next week or the week after.
Got it. Ryan.
Yeah, mine is very similar to all of the guys. 49-7. I think we only give up one touchdown, and I think it's toward the end of the game. What I'm most looking forward to, this is pretty vague, but like I want to see an offensive rebound. I want to see us going back to what worked in the Arkansas State game and not being so conservative like we were against SMU. And I also want to see like with that in mind, I want to see like the ability to change something if it's not working. Like that is one of the things that frustrated me most about last week is that we didn't do anything different in the second half. So I want to see that like adaptability also present itself.
Yep. I'm going 52-13 is what I had. Mark, you said 52 and then you said 10. And I was like, okay, I can still stick with mine. So 52-13 is what I have. And really what I want to see is Jeff Lebby's play calling. And people are going to make the argument that like, oh, if you're scoring, then Jeff Lebby's calling the right plays. And my argument to that would be really any play is going to be the right play against a team like Tulsa. Like they're not as talented as you. So what I want to see is Jeff Lebby be aggressive. Like I want to see the ball thrown downfield. Like Patrick said, I don't want to see screens. I want to see aggressive play calls, taking shots, play action passes, crosses over the middle, maybe even sprinkle a trick play or two. Who knows? I doubt he will. It's Tulsa. He won't. And like, I won't blame him for that, but just more aggressiveness in the play calling side of things. If you score a 60-yard touchdown on an off tackle run, people are going to see that and be like, oh, great play call by Jeff Lebby. When in reality, you're just bigger, stronger, faster than them. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not the play calling, it's the players at that point. I want to see more aggressiveness. So that's where I'm at.
We haven't seen that from the running game, though. We haven't seen that kind of explosive playmaking from the running game. Yeah, you're going to have to see Gavin Sawchuk get some run to see that kind of a breakout explosive performance because unless Javante Barnes has it and we haven't seen it, we know that Tawi and Marcus are probably not breaking away like that. They need Gavin to take a step up.
Yep. Let us know down below in the comments your score prediction, what you think, what you most want to see in the OU game on Saturday against Tulsa. All right, boys, moving on to some recruiting news, big recruiting news coming up. Nigel Smith commits to Oklahoma, 6'5", 260. He's a defensive end from Melissa, Texas. That's a good get for the power line. That's what we're calling it, right? Power line.
Yep.
So another one added, Jaden Jackson. Oh my God, I'm
Whoa, whoa,
blanking
whoa,
on.
whoa, 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 whoa. Jaden Action
Thank you.
Jackson. Yeah,
Thank you.
Jack.
Thank you.
Action Jackson.
Who else am I missing? There's like
David
three others.
Stone.
Yeah,
Thank
David
you.
Stone.
Wyatt
Thank you.
Gilmore.
Thank you. Yeah, bad on my part. Bad on my part. So, another piece of that line, and Salt and Pepper working hard. Miguel
This is a
Chavis and
big
Todd
one.
Bates.
This is a big one. They've been investing in this one for a long time. So to see it come through the
Long
way
time.
that we needed it to is a big time win. Knew all along he'd be, at least a 4-star player. He's a top 100 guy. That's a gigantic win. It feels like he's been in the bag for a minute, so people aren't really like psyched on him in the same way it would be if it was a surprise 4-star. But OU fans should be very excited for what they're building up front, even with the recent losses of the 5 stars. Guys like Nigel Smith are going to build this line.
Yeah, and I think when he announced his commitment, I think that took us to like number 8 in the rankings temporarily. I think we've dropped back down a little bit with some of the other commitments that we've had, but like I think we shifted like 4 or 5 positions. So that goes to show like how important this guy is. And it did feel like when he committed, it was just kind of like hush hush because everybody was like, oh, we expected this. And it's like, oh, this isn't a big deal. But it is a big deal. Like this guy's awesome. And I'm really glad that they were able to like cultivate that relationship with him for so long and bring him in where it felt like, not even a thought about it. He was coming here.
Matt,
I think it was absolutely huge. I had people in the TikTok comments saying, hey, this is like my favorite pickup for this 2024 class, especially on the defensive line. So I think it's huge. I mean, this is an SEC defensive line. That's just what it is. This is the best defensive line we're probably ever we've ever had. Right. Maybe we've had
like gathering talent,
like when you recruit, like recruiting class.
I think recruiting classes.
Yeah, recruiting
class. I can agree with Pat.
Our defense early 2000s was nasty. So
sure, but I see where Pat's coming from, though. I kind of tend to lean more towards Patrick's view on it. But yeah, Pat. Sorry, we cut you off. Go ahead.
No, that's all I got, man. We're talking about the next guy, Danny Akelier, could be next.
Yeah. Matt, anything to add before we move on to Danny? Because Mark dropped some balls over the weekend, and I wanted Mark to go ahead and drop them.
Yeah, look, I just wanted to get ahead of this one. I long time or new time, but close followers will recognize that it was a little uncharacteristic of me to drop one of my balls for Nigel Smith. A little like right before it happened, to be honest. I can't help when the information comes through that gets
they called you out.
Yeah, no, they did.
They called you out. I saw it.
Remember the program? No shade, absolute good critique. But here's the thing: I can't help when my confidence meter hits 69, and that's hot enough to go.
Mm-hmm.
I can't help when we get to 69 and the ball has to drop. And
has to.
Yeah, well, and that's what happened with Nigel Smith. But let me tell you, shortly thereafter, same time around the weekend, that's what happened with Danny Phantom Okoye.
Mm-hmm.
We knew he was coming down to his final 3. He had some kind of top 6 out there that included teams that were never in the race. It's down to Oklahoma, Texas, and Tennessee. And this guy's a Tulsa kid, homeschooled. He's been kind of his own sort of cat the entire way through. But as we've gotten through this process, he's going to be committing on September 20th. So tell you what, man, he might show up in a Program Guys t-shirt. Who even knows? And do his announcement that way because I dropped a ball. He's coming to OU.
Danny, slide in our DMs and we'll send you a t-shirt for free, brother. I'll buy the t-shirt for you. Just slide in the DMs, man. And you can wear it on your announcement day. That'd be sick. Matt, anything to add, brother?
I just love when Mark drops his balls, man. I never get more giddy and excited when I see that on X, formerly known as Twitter, that the balls have dropped. Can't wait for the announcement next week.
Some say all you see is white when Mark's balls drop. You know what I mean? Like it's just you just see white, man. It's crazy.
It's blinding.
Yeah, 100%. But we got to have it. He's a legend. Honestly, speaking of legends, Legend Bay.
Still 100%. Sorry,
What?
I completely effed up your segue. I'm
Yeah.
That was a
Ryan,
great
can you just mute yourself for the rest of the podcast? Thank you so much.
You literally ruined it.
I'm so sorry. Please,
You literally ruined
please
it.
rewind like 15 seconds and then just go back into it.
No. Yeah, Mark's balls are a legend. Speaking of legends, Legend Bay, he is from the Skeet. He's from Horn High School in Mesquite, Texas. Oh man, we are gonna get just so demonetized on YouTube for this episode. I'm just fully prepared. He's
on the idea.
he's got a crystal ball from Parker Thune of 247. Parker's 247. Does I want to give him credit where credit's due? I think he is. Or is he
Rivals now.
Rivals.
I think.
God.
Rivals now. Yeah.
Freaking
Insiders with rivals now.
Sorry, Parker. I'm sorry about that. 5'11", 185 for Legend. He's listed as an athlete, so he is on the radar for Oklahoma, and that's exciting. More recruiting talk. Again, I feel like it's hard for me to lock all the way in on recruiting talk until we get to like November, and I know signing day is really close, and then that's when I can kind of lock back in a little bit. But yeah, anybody else? Any thoughts on the recruiting news we've talked about?
Can we talk about this guy's class of 2026?
I didn't even mention that.
Deep.
Yeah.
yeah. He's what, a freshman right now? Sophomore? No.
Probably going.
What would that be?
Sophomore.
He is a sophomore right now, going into his junior and senior year next year, because Kevin Sperry is playing his junior ball right now, right? So
got it.
Legend Bay, I'm going to say
sophomore.
Bay, I don't know, maybe it's B, is a sophomore. I don't know if he's playing varsity right now. I don't know what he's doing over there at Horn, but I've been watching highlights for the last however long, and I'm in. I'm so in. You know, I'm Patrick with these fall ball, spring ball highlights. I'm so ready. The big thing is this has sort of become a model for Jackson Arnold. Identify a quarterback early and have that quarterback handle some of the recruiting weight for you. Jackson Arnold did it. Michael Hawkins did it. Kevin Sperry is rewriting the model on how to do it. He moved for the program. None of us have even done that yet.
Real.
Legend Bay might be next up. And to identify him and get him in the mix so early is probably just only a good thing. Because if he doesn't develop like you're worried about, you cut him like a bad habit. It sounds bad. It sounds bad, right?
Ooh.
But we had our trials on the sideline. You know, we're doing bad.
We go from Mark being like, I'm in, to we cut him like a bad habit.
No, I'm mad in. Like,
if he doesn't turn into like what I want. Sorry, guys.
Some of these guys have very innate abilities to get their bodies ready to go to throw a ball off platform, and it doesn't really matter how set they are, what their arm angle is. They just can figure it out. He's that, but he's also running around like a crazy person. Watch these freshman year highlights, guys.
Perfect. Anything else on the recruiting front, guys?
No.
Okay, let's get to our college football pick'em. Pat, tell them about the pick'em real quick.
Absolutely. College football pick'em league sponsored by Hype Shoe Company. The link is in the description right now. Go to hypeshoes.com, order some collegiate shoes or customize your own shoes with whatever you want on them. It's custom. Put your dog's face on them. Update on the pick'em league. I am still beating all of you. Mark is still in last place. I think Ryan is second. Gan, I can't find you. And
I'm
Mason,
44th. I'm
Yeah.
44th.
Yeah,
44th out of 82. 44th out of 82. Did we not close the group?
So you can't, and I've been looking this whole time to close it. The group is now closed. I'm taking screenshots. If you're not in right now, September 13th at 6 p.m., it's done. It's closed. I will know the top three. And if you're not in the top three right now, if you're not in the league right now and you're in the top three later, you don't count. So
our top,
I will know.
Our top three.
Someone we're gonna hate is like counting their blessings on a 10-0 week one. And is just like, yes, we got in.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mace.
Dom Daminators, 14-6. That's our leader. Trav D 33, 13-7. He's in second. And then Reggie Hill, 13-7. Big Poppy, 13-7. Mason's Lettuce, 13-7. Moose Apocalypse, 13-7. So there's a battle for the top right now. So remember, make your picks before the games kick off on Saturday, and try to stay up to date on that. And remember, top three go home with a free pair of hype shoes. Okay, Matt Gann, circle the WaGanns time real quick, brother. Big softball stuff, man.
Softball continues to churn and churn with another highly talented recruit, Alyssa Parker, hometown girl, Pecola, Oklahoma. She is staying right where she belongs, number 8 player overall, number 4 pitcher in her class. And if you haven't been keeping track, that's now 3 players in the top 10 and for the 2025 class, 2 of them being top 5 pitchers. I mean, Patty just continues to reload. She's already got a statue. I don't know what else we can do for her at this point. Might have to get her
Patty Gasso Stadium.
Yeah, I might have to name it after her, name a couple streets in Norman. I mean, whatever you got to do. I mean, she just continues to get these highly rated recruits. So super excited for the upcoming season, but that's another huge land for Patty Gasso in that 2025 class. Again, really 2 other just major sports. I know golf is starting up a little bit, but the Sooner girls for soccer stops their 3-game skid with a win over Murray State 5-1. Getting a hat trick from Emma WaGanns. She is the first player in OU history to have multiple hat tricks ever. So congrats to her. Pretty much taken back from Patrick in his high school days when he used to do that with ease with his big old noggin. So congrats to Emma WaGanns for the hat trick. We'll play Kansas this upcoming week at home. Volleyball overall 5-2. They were just in the Irish Invitational against Illinois and Notre Dame, beating Illinois 3-0 and losing to the Irish ladies 3-2. They will look to bounce back in back-to-back matches against UCLA this weekend as well. Again, golf and some of these other sports are getting ready as well, so should have a few more teams to talk about, but that is Circle the WaGanns quick segment.
Love that. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, PGP MVP of the week time. We'll wrap up the show with that. Ryan, we'll start with you, man. Who's your MVP of the week?
Yeah, I'm going to give mine to Baker Mayfield. Coming in, winning his first game of the season against my Vikings, which hurt a little bit. But there is no one I would rather lose to than starting quarterback Baker Mayfield making a comeback on Tampa Bay. I'm sorry, Mark. I know, divisional stuff, but got to give it up for Baker for winning his first game as the starting quarterback for the Buccaneers.
Shout out, Pake, my quarterback. I love it. Patrick, who's your MVP, I should say?
Yeah, the German national soccer team, or the federation, I should say.
Wait, I thought we hated them. I thought they were bad.
We did hate
absolutely.
them.
We still do. They fired their coach this week. They are looking to replace their coach.
Okay, that's why
we're happy. We're happy that he got fired. Yep. Bunch of complacent players, though. Don't get me started.
You seem so happy about this.
No, but Patrick, this is the point of the show where we do get you started. It's your segment,
right?
You know what I mean? Like, you can go as deep into it as you want. But
I appreciate that.
Hey, okay, all right, fine. Matt Gann, who's your MVP?
Like, no, I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm going the Green Bay Packers. After having 2 Hall of Famers for the last 19 plus seasons.
Oh, don't go here.
Jordan Love coming into Chicago against one of the oldest rivalries in the NFL. Everyone favoring Chicago to win that game, and the Packers proving that they are still a team in that NFC North division, winning 38-20. Everyone was counting this team out from the get-go. Is Jordan Love that guy? He still has a lot to prove.
Game one.
But did look pretty good. I just said that. Thank you very much, Tyson. Just keep yourself on pause. Thank you so much. I'm going to give it up to the Green Bay Packers. They looked really good. The defense looked good. Hopefully they can continue that in Jordan Love's development. But good to see them win after all that. Green Bay Packers.
Are you willing to donate your Achilles to Aaron Rodgers?
I do feel bad. I am an Aaron Rodgers fan. I'm not a Jets fan. I am an Aaron Rodgers fan. There's over 24 million people watching that Monday Night Football game just to see Zach Wilson and Josh Allen play each other. So very disheartening for the Jets, especially after watching Hard Knocks.
Bro, they have 5 more primetime games.
Oh, man.
5
The
more.
crime. They're going to have to change that.
Yeah. Get them off my
Zach
screen.
Wilson, not the dude. But you
Zach
know who's
Wilson's
also
not
not
the
the dude right now?
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. But also, why am I blanking? Bill's QB.
Oh,
just
Josh
said
Allen.
Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Thank
Josh
you, Josh
Allen.
Allen. He played like absolute doo-doo.
If you want us to start an NFL podcast,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Maybe
Continue.
he, and
buddy.
maybe, he
Program.
needs, maybe he needs Brian Daboll more than we thought that. For real.
Maybe. People are asking. People are asking if Tua Tagovailoa is the best quarterback in the division. People, not me. People are asking. People are asking. Go ahead, Mark. Who's your MVP, man?
Okay, so I have a double, and the first one's going to be very fast. My number one MVP is running backs coach of the Atlanta Falcons, whose name is escaping me. But between Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, the Falcons were firing on all cylinders on the ground against the Carolina Panthers on Sunday, winning 24-10. And it just looked awesome. There were so many plays that both those guys were on the field at the same time. You got Bijan Robinson running all over the place in motion, catching 6 balls in addition to the times that he carried the ball on the ground, scoring his first touchdown as an outlet swing pass in the slot. That's stuff that we're not doing with a lot of running backs in the NFL right now. So it was very encouraging to see MVP there. LVP. Here's a call out for you.
Oh.
Ooh, call out?
Oh.
I think the guy works for, 24/7. Graham Bensinger interviewed the former head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners and allowed these quotes to go unpushed back upon. Quote, one of the things I told the players when I stood up there is, I think every one of you should stay here and do it. Close quote. Second quote. We helped keep a lot of players there that are still there. Close quote. Graham. The best player in college football played for Oklahoma when Lincoln Riley, when he stood up there and claims he said that. I promise you, in the private car ride the two of them took together from Bedlam to Norman the night before that, he was not telling Caleb Williams that. I promise you, he didn't have that same conversation with Mario Williams, who is also proudly rocking the red and gold at the Mecca. I don't imagine he said anything different to Latrell McCutcheon, though. Fair points on that one. But the idea that now pushing almost 2 years ago, and we haven't heard anything about it since then, and he just like, oh no, Caleb, don't you dare. And you're in an interview setting and you can't push back on that at all? At all? Come on, man. Don't let this garbage person's narrative run untethered. That's ridiculous. Just because they're 15th in the recruiting rankings doesn't mean he gets to just reset the narrative and bitch and complain about how things went at the end of his Oklahoma run. He's done it too many times already. No other coach in college football has ever milked the teat of their former employer the way that Lincoln has done with Oklahoma. I'm so sick of it. LVP, my homie Graham Bensinger. It's nothing personal. I'm sure you're a wonderful guy, but you kind of got walked over.
I don't understand how OU fans get the hell they get for like being butthurt about the whole Lincoln Riley thing. And then like Lincoln Riley 2 years after the fact is like still bringing this garbage up. Like it's just,
Sure.
it's wild, man. It's nuts to me. It's
Did you see
No
the
one-
report about that
no
he
one
was
made
like
him do
people were
this,
trying
you know?
to break into my house those last few days and no one ever heard of that. There was no reporting on that whatsoever. Like someone
Yeah.
trying to break and enter and there's no reporting on it and now you're claiming it 2 years ago. It's stupid. All of it
Yeah.
is stupid. It's so dumb.
Norman, credit to George Stoya. He reached out to Norman PD, and Norman PD did receive calls 3 weeks after Riley left to go to USC about someone trying to break in or something like that, or trespassers on the property, but no police report was ever filed. But Norman PD did receive calls and responded as such. But that was the extent of that. And the fact that that's the first time we're hearing about that is kind of nuts. That like
Lincoln Riley was named the head coach of USC November 28th, 2021, and we're worried about some stuff that might have happened around his house 3 weeks later when you know he's already gone. He's recruiting. He's on a recruiting trip to Raleigh. Was it Raleigh Brown? Yeah, Raleigh Brown's house that night. We talked about it on this show.
Yeah.
Man, we hit the ground running.
we
And
did.
I just do not this guy's a sack of poop.
What a great. All right. I'll round us out with my MVP. My MVP of the week is Mike McDaniel after literally getting his brains stomped in against the LA Chargers last year. And just struggling mightily in the game that quite arguably turned Miami's whole season downward in a downward trajectory. Comes back and creates a fantastic offensive game plan and outduels Justin Herbert and company in the Chargers to win that game. It's a massive win for the Miami Dolphins, and Mike McDaniel deserved a ton of credit because I'll tell you who doesn't deserve credit: Vic Fangio. Good Lord, nobody's tried to lose a game harder than that guy. Okay, and with that, that's going to put episode 88 in the books. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Get our shirt. Link down below in the description. The link closes on the 21st. Remember, shout out Hype Shoes. Go get your Hype Shoes. Make your pick 'em picks. Follow us on all of our social media. That's Program Guys with a Z, at Program Guys with a Z. That's how you can find us. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that good stuff. We will see you on Saturday night or Sunday morning for the post-game pod. Let's go 3-0, boys. Let's go do it. Patrick, take us out.
Keep pushing it, baby.